that create the habitat for the juvenile coho and steelhead. Because it's all interwoven, there's cover then for the coho, and coho are really sensitive to cover. It's really what they're seeking out. They like it dark and they like to feel protected. After the first winter, we came back out and did topographic surveys to compare the depth of the bed to what it looked like before we implemented the project. And we found that we had a scour hole that was 4 feet deeper. Then we came out and surveyed for fish in this hole, in this pool, as well as other pools created by the other log structures. And in this particular pool, we found 100 juvenile coho that summer. Whereas before we implemented the project, in this whole channelized reach, we had 0 coho. The main action that we took was to install 3 wood structures up the bowling alley that would work to actually route the flows into a more sinuous pattern. In the channelized reach in the bowling alley, we have about 9 pieces of wood that are all interwoven, and they were labeled on our engineer drawings in the order in which they should be installed. It required a very skilled excavator operator to think about, in a sense, building a structure as if it were pickup sticks, and making all the pieces fit right. And more than anything, the structure had to be secure to sustain really high flows. So we were a little uncertain going into it what it would be like to actually install this structure, but it worked out really well.
To me, those 2 weirs are the hardest of all of this, because
Why is that?
Installing that is so much easier.
You got space.
I got the work area.
The whole thing to dig up.
It's just they'll trench the bank. They'll trench it from the top into the banks to drop the pin logs in. You can compact it from the top. Setting those parallel logs to the toe is really simple. Tony's used to a little bit down, a little bit up. A little bit down, a little bit down, a little bit down. Oh, man, we got to go up. Pull it out.
Right.
He pulls it out, fills it a little bit down. Okay, we're good. I've set weirs where we've had to have it within the hundreds. I've set weirs that's tolerance to 100.
Material. It was the larger material we couldn't pinch down.
So the sharp bend in the creek where the bank was eroding had created vertical banks, and high flows would come in every winter and basically just slice off part of that vertical bank and send all that sediment into the system. Is the really thin stuff easier to weave? What the park decided to do to reduce all that erosion was to actually slope the banks back. We felt that the sloping alone was not enough to protect the bank, because high flows really aimed straight at that bank. So we also designed in wood structures that would be at the toe of the slope, that would add a little bit of habitat value and also really provide long-term protection for the bank.
I can't think of a greater volunteer project to work in the park, because it's just amazing what's been done with people. Volunteers are pretty much critical to the work that we're doing at Redwood Creek. None of our plants would get planted without them. Last year, like I said, just about 1,000 hours of volunteer time in volunteer work out here in the planting and erosion control. I think another extra 200 in invasive removal, so a whole bunch of time was spent getting these plants in the ground. And pretty much, if we didn't have that labor force, we don't have the money in our grants to hire contractors, so all of it's done by volunteers. The most rewarding part about it is just watching people